Today, we're going to dive into a way of thinking that really challenges one of our most basic instincts, our tendency to see the world in just black and white.
So, let me just start by asking you this. When you think about the big issues, all the major conflicts, do you tend to see things in really clear-cut terms? As one thing or its total opposite?
Because let's be honest, we're often taught to frame reality this way. We think in terms of good versus evil, right versus wrong. We're told we have to pick a side. Are you for science or for religion? Capitalism or socialism? It's a world of binaries, of these rigid opposing forces. But does that really capture the full picture?
What if the truth isn't just a simple on or off switch? What if reality is actually a lot more like a dimmer, with this whole amazing spectrum of possibilities between absolute dark and absolute light? This is exactly where we introduce a third way of thinking, a path that takes us beyond those simple opposites we're so used to.
And there's a name for this approach. It's called Neutrosophy. Now, put simply, it's a branch of philosophy that is laser-focused on neutrality and what's happening in all those gray areas. It's not just about saying, oh yeah, opposites exist. No, it's about deeply exploring the vast, complex space between them.
So here's the core idea, the real heart of it. Instead of just having a concept, let's call it A, and its direct opposite, anti-A, Neutropathy introduces this third, absolutely crucial element, Neuta. This little guy represents everything in between, the neutrality, the ambiguity, the shades of gray, or even a mix of both. And that's where the most interesting stuff usually happens.
Okay, so that might sound a little abstract, right? How does this actually work in the real world? Well, let's start with a simple logic puzzle to see how adding that in-between element of context can totally change everything.
All right, here's a quick riddle for you. 10 birds are in a space. A hunter shows up and shoots 3 of them. How many birds are left? Seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it?
Well, what if that space was a fence? If that's the case, the answer is 0. The 3 birds that got shot fell off, and the other 7 got spooked and flew away. There's nothing left on the fence.
But what if the space was a meadow? The answer completely changes. Now it's 3. The 7 living birds still flew off, but the 3 dead birds are still there, lying on the ground.
And one more for you. What if the space was a cage? Well, now the answer is 10. The 7 living birds and the 3 dead ones are all still in there, because, of course, none of them could leave.
So you see what's happening here? The result isn't really determined by the numbers. It's determined entirely by the context, by the space. That space, the fence, the meadow, the cage, that's the indeterminate neutral factor. That's our neuta, and it defines the entire logic of this situation.
Okay, let's make this even more personal. I want you to think about yourself for a second. Are you, right now, the exact same person you were when you were 5 years old? See, classical logic has this rule called the principle of identity. It basically says a thing is always equal to itself. A equals A. Simple. But is that really true for a person? Think about it. Is someone named Andrew at age 5 the exact same person as Andrew at age 70? He's changed physically, mentally, emotionally, in almost every way imaginable.
So what solves this little paradox? It's the indeterminate. The neutral factors of time and change are what make you fundamentally different from the person you once were, even while you share the same name and the same basic identity.
So we've seen this third way in logic and even in our own sense of self. But you know what? This idea is not new. Not at all. In fact, it's been a core part of human storytelling for thousands of years, especially in our myths.
Across so many cultures, we find this specific type of hero, the demigod. We're talking about figures like Hercules and Achilles from Greek myths, Bhima from the Hindu epic Mahabharata, or Gilgamesh from ancient Mesopotamia. These characters are the perfect embodiment of the in-between.
Just listen to this description of Gilgamesh. The epic that bears his name doesn't just say he's half and half. No, it states with this incredible precision that he is 2/3 divine and 1/3 mortal. He's a complex mixture, a being who exists squarely in that space between clear categories.
And we can map this perfectly onto our Neutrosophic triad. If A represents a god, and anti-A represents a mortal, well then the demigod is the ultimate neutral A, the bridge, the blend, the hero who is neither one nor the other, but something else entirely new.
So, what does this all add up to? What we're seeing here isn't just a collection of cool, disconnected examples. It's really a new paradigm, a whole new lens for looking at the world.
I mean, just think about the journey we just took. We started with a simple logic puzzle about birds, we moved to the deep philosophy of our own identity, and then we explored these ancient myths. And in every single case, the exact same underlying pattern showed up.
The philosopher Florentine Smarandaccia, who developed this whole theory, he summed it up perfectly. He said, Neutrosophy means common parts in uncommon things and uncommon parts in common things. In other words, it's a way of seeing the hidden connections between things that seem totally different, while also recognizing the surprising complexity inside the things we thought were simple.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Once you start looking for this third way, this neutral space, you really do start seeing it everywhere. So my question for you is, what other crucial in-betweens in our politics, in our relationships, in our own thinking have we been totally overlooking just because we were so focused on the black and the white?